Good afternoon, and it's a bit of a chilly afternoon, so I'm in the shed. I'm going to start the refurb, maybe, whatever we want to call it. We'll call it a refurb to start with, of the GS. And first thing I want to get done, let's take that off of there, is get this front wheel off. So first thing, get these brake calipers out of the way, so the two bolts there, and then start stripping off the axle. I don't think that's the right axle for this bike. Maybe it's the right axle, wrong nut, because it should be a castellated nut according to the guide, with a cotter pin through it. And whether I take that nut off and find there's a hole in the axle to accommodate a cotter pin or not, I don't know. But first of all, let's get these brake calipers off, hang them out the way, get the wheel off. Ultimately I'm going for the Speedo drive today and replacing that with a second hand one I've bought and a new cable, because the Speedo tends to flutter sometimes, so I just want to upgrade that. So as I say, first of all, calipers off, and then drop the wheel out so I can get to the Speedo drive. Okay, I'll get the other side off and then hang them out the way and undo the axle. Okay, so that's the calipers hung out the way. Look as though they've got pretty much brand new brake pads in them. So I'll probably end up giving the piston a clean, making sure everything's alright, clean the caliper up itself as well. So now, to take the nut off, so I'll loosen that before I undo the clamp bolts. And I've been using penetrating oil on this and the clamp bolts for about a week now, so hopefully these will come off alright. But the brake caliper bolts had copper grease on them, so whoever had the bike before me seems to have looked after it, which is always good news. Yeah, and the axle itself has got the holes in to put a cotter pin through, so I think this is just the wrong nut. This is a, looks like a nylock nut anyway, but I've ordered the correct, hopefully the correct castellated nut. Failing that, this one I'll just go back on. Right, so I think it's clamps next, but I think I'll get this bracket out of the way and the Speedo drive itself. Right, I'll get these pinch bolts undone. Okay, so I've undone the pinch bolts the other side completely, and I'll just do these ones. And again, I don't know whether it's because it's had a week's worth of penetrating oil on it, or whether the previous owner did really look after them. The nuts themselves are quite rusted, and the ends of the threads definitely need a clean up, but should, once I undo this one nut, the whole wheel should just drop. There you go. You're not going to forget what goes where on the axle when you take the waxle take the axle out complete. There you go, wheels out. As I say, the part that I'm particularly after this time round is the Speedo drive, but there's other stuff I want to do. want to give the wheel a good clean up, and I want to change these bolts out on the discs because these aren't the right ones. They should be hex head bolts, which then these locking tabs fold over onto and lock them in place. It shouldn't be Allen bolts. So that's another job I've got to do. But as I say, today is Speedo drive. It moves quite smoothly. So we've got a split pin there. I don't know whether I can undo that and just give it a good clean up and grease it up. Perhaps it is just filth in there, and if I clean that up and replace the cable, we might have a good setup. Yeah, might try that. I'm going to replace the bearings on the wheel as well. They don't feel too bad at all. They're well greased and free flowing, but there's a very slight graunch to them. Well, to this side. Yeah, again, ever such a slight graunch. Nothing really to worry about, but being that I've got the wheel off and I'm sorting over everything else out, and I got the bearings as a Christmas present, it'd be rude not to fit them. Yeah, so that's a job for another video. Another video, another day. Okay, this is the Speedo drive that I bought, which is at the moment definitely stiffer than the one that's come off the bike. So just out of interest, I'm going to strip it down. Okay, I stripped this one down, and I don't think they're meant to come apart by too much. It looks like there's some sort of washery thing in there. It's not a split pin or anything, so there's no moving it to get it out, to get this drive out of here. All I can do is take the split pin, the washer, and the drive sprocket, I suppose that is, and then get a pick underneath, or was it this one? Might have been this one. Which pulls that up away from the rubber, which allows me to pull the drive out. So I still don't know how this rubber comes off. It really is stuck in there. There's no split pins or anything that I can see that take that apart. So I'm not going to keep on. I have damaged it slightly in trying to find out how to get this apart, but that was the idea of having one that was sacrificial as such. So now I've taken the split pin washer and drive collar off the one that came off the bike, which definitely runs quicker than the sacrificial one. and I'm just going to see if I can fairly easily get the toothpick in there and take this drive out to see if I can get some more grease in there. There you go. Right, so I'll give this a good clean up with brake fluid. Not with brake fluid. Brake cleaner. And then pump a load of grease in here. Washers come out as well. Let's just tuck that back in. There you go. Yeah. It is rather dry inside, so as I say, I'll clean this up a bit and shoot a load of grease in there. Pack it out a bit. And then it's lubed. Right, get some brake cleaner and some grease. Looks a bit different, doesn't it? I say the bike itself, I think the previous owner regularly did routine maintenance on it, but also had the bike to ride. So it all got done, but then it all got used, which has kept it all in very good working order. And so I want to do a similar sort of job, keep it looking tidy but used. It's not designed to be a show bike, it is designed for me to get on it and enjoy, and that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to make sure bits are kept in working order, especially as the bike doesn't need an official MOT anymore. It is down to me, so if I do get pulled over and something isn't working right, well, it really is my fault. And especially in the circumstance of an accident, if they find reason that the bike shouldn't have been on the road, then I really am in shit street. Right, I think that should do. I'll push the drive back in, past the rubber seal. Made that sound easy. There you go. Wipe off some of the excess gook. Nice, that's turning beautifully. As I say, it wasn't that bad to start with. There you go, that's clicked into place. Nice. So next thing to do would be to replace the cable, which is obviously detached at the bottom. Just need to detach it from the drive. It feels quite crusty and horrible. Okay, so the top needs undoing, so all we need is a pair of pliers on the knurled nut. And then just feed the new one up through. Okay, so that's definitely in the drive. What I'm doing down here is down the bottom end is putting a screwdriver on the drive and spinning it. It spins anti-clockwise and the needle's twitching, so I know that this drive is located inside properly, and the nut just wants pinching up now, and then the bottom end can be rebuilt. And then all that will be left is to make sure the end there, the slot there, the drive actually sits in it, and you'll feel that, there you go, quite nicely. And that is that done. I'm not going to rebuild it at this present time because I want to start cleaning up the forks and sorting out the right bolts for the wheel and everything. But I hope that's been of interest to someone. That's the Speedo drive greased and a new cable fitted. There you go. See you again. Ta-ra.